Hi, so I'm in the car on the way to somewhere and it's the evening. It's after 8:30 now, I think, so that's why it's dark and I got a bit bored, so I thought I'll update you guys on some interesting information I found about my great-great-grandparents on my maternal side. So I just want to correct something that I said in my original video about the surname Barnes. So I explained that my great-great-grandfather was white American with the surname Barnes, and I said that Barnes is a Scottish clan, which it is not. Like, I must have got confused with something that I read and thought that it was the Scottish clan, but it isn't. It's actually an English surname, but it is also found in Scotland. So I do actually have more information about Mr. Barnes that I have received. So his name was Robert Barnes, and he originally came from Texas, from a family of horse breeders, and he referred to himself as a redneck. So I know these days that's seen as a derogatory term or whatever, but that's how he described himself. And I'm assuming that after he joined the Marines, because he joined the Marines, that's when he came to Ghana and ended up settling in Ghana and ended up marrying my great-great-grandmother, Rebecca. Now, Rebecca was a controversial figure, allegedly, for a few reasons. One being her mother was Sierra Leonean. So her mother was Sierra Leonean and her father was Ghanaian. So she wasn't full Ghanaian. And that is why, if you've seen my DNA results video, you will know that the results came up as me being 5.3% Sierra Leonean. Now I have realized the connection where that ancestry comes from. So it came from Rebecca. I didn't know that before. So that's really interesting that actually some of the trace results in my DNA test is proving to be accurate, because I know some people have said, like on other YouTube videos I've seen, you know, ignore certain percentages. So when you receive a result that's under like 10%, or especially if it's like 2%, then you know, that's just, you know, that may not be accurate. But actually the 5.3% Sierra Leonean was very accurate. My great-great-grandmother had Sierra Leonean ancestry. Another thing was, she was a controversial figure because she used to smoke, and that was seen as during that time it was seen as something that women should not do. And also, which you might have already guessed, she was a controversial figure because she had relationships with white men. So she was in a relationship with two white men, not at the same time, well, I don't know. But two white men, including my great-great-grandfather Robert. And she was apparently very discriminated against because of that, and she was called all of the usual female derogatory terms, like, you know, prostitute and things like that. And then their relationship didn't last, so they did end up having a son, which is my great-grandfather, who is obviously mixed West African and white. And when their relationship ended, apparently Robert was very heartbroken, and he ended up moving to Nigeria and opening up like a horse ranch there. And he never remarried and never had any other children. I'm not quite sure how life ended for Rebecca, but yeah, that's what it is. And then I learned a bit more about my other set of great grandparents from my maternal side, which would have been my maternal side. So my mum's mum's side. they were both Ghanaian, as far as we know, both Ghanaian, and their names was Elizabeth and Samuel. And Elizabeth was a businesswoman. She was a trader. I don't know exactly what in specifically, but she was doing her thing. And then her husband, Samuel, he was a cocoa broker. So I don't know if he fully owned or partly owned or whatever, but he was the boss of a cocoa plantation, and he worked for Cadbury's. And apparently before he died in about the 1950s, he won an OBE. So that's very interesting. He actually won an OBE. Sorry, that's the sat nav. So yeah, I was quite excited to be given this information because I don't know much about my grandparents in terms of like what kind of life they lived. And it made me think about what I inherited from them, like the traits that I inherited from them, because I'm not a very traditional person. And I kind of was thinking like, did I inherit some of like my rebelliousness and my kind of defiance from, you know, some of my ancestors, because they were doing things that were kind of, you know, ahead of their time. And yeah, I do have some conservative views on certain things, but overall I'm kind of a free-spirited person. So it was very interesting to hear about their lives and make a little connection about where some of my personality might come from as well. So yeah, that's what I have for you. And if I learn any further interesting information about any other ancestors or anything like that, then I would consider sharing it. So thank you for listening.